My name is Layla Atshan. I'm an independent psychosocial consultant. I work with UNICEF and other organizations, local and international. My work is focused on trauma and conflict areas. So I actually worked in Darfur, South Sudan. I worked in Denmark with refugees and a short mission in Iraq and so on. I was born to a refugee family, a Palestinian refugee family who did internal migration from 1948 to Ramallah. And it was a poor family, not very educated, I would say, not knowing what to do with having a blind child. I was one of 10. Two others from my siblings were also blind. So yes, in the beginning it wasn't easy at all. It was a challenge. Many times I did feel like a burden. I needed to prove myself in different stages of my life, in different ways. But I always had in mind, even though I never liked school, but I have to succeed because I have to be something. I felt many times people didn't believe in me wherever I went, and people had no expectations, maybe minimum expectations. So I always knew that no, I have to be a little bit more than minimum. And I knew my resources. I think one of the most important resources was I knew myself. I knew I had abilities, and it's not what school defines. Schools define you through what they think is intelligence. If you know maybe how to draw a map of something, or there's certain social criterias and other criterias, like if you know how to recite things. But I knew that I had resources of feeling people around me, knowing myself, being able to love people around me, to analyze, etc. So since I was a teenager, I had in mind that I want to be a social worker or a psychologist. And actually I fancied, many times I fancied having my family house as a house for kids who have no care, no parents. I studied in Birzeit, my BA degree, and then I went to a university called Rutgers in the US. I did a master's in social work, and this was really my choice of passion. I was considering law, and when I explored both of them, I thought, no, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be a therapist, I want to have social understanding for people around me. Now, I feel one of the luckier ones, because after a long journey of challenges, trying to prove myself, taking it step by step, dealing with many feelings here and there, but now I think with blindness I'm very comfortable. It's a part of me that I actually like, and I think it gave me space, it gave me freedom to be who I want to be. So it's true. So I like it. And I think if I had the choice again in life to be blind and who I am, and a seeing person, and living in a family that controls my ambitions, I would much rather be blind than who I am now. So this is really it. Do you have other questions?
It's in our life, and it's like in our society. Do you feel like you're ashamed of blindness or something like this?
Not at all. It's a good friend of mine. I think I use it in a way to break barriers when people are stubborn or resistant for change or scared to open up. I use my own blindness to help them open up. And I think it gives me a lot of freedom to say many things that others wouldn't dare to say when I'm working with the community. I work a lot with Palestinian community all over the country, and with all kinds of sectors of the community: conservative, liberal, children, adults, teachers, psychologists. And I speak about it openly when I go to work with people. I let them know I cannot see, so we have to communicate differently. It's not useful for them to lift a finger. it's better to say their first name, and we joke about it sometimes. In fact, today I was leading a meeting for 40 people in Hebron, and we joked about my blindness. And I think anything in life, you can either make it a resource or an obstacle, anything. Being Palestinian can be a source or an obstacle, being blind, being a woman, being anything. And it's just knowing how to do it, I think. And I think the best secret is knowing yourself and believing in yourself and accepting that we all have vulnerabilities sometimes, not necessarily related to blindness, to many things, you know, but it's okay. It's a good friend of ours, vulnerability. And I am friends with all of me.
That's great. And there's another question I would like to ask you about. It's like, did it, I mean, the blindness make you like a better person, like a bigger person?
I think so. It helped me, first of all, because being blind, I think I was left alone many times. First of all, it helped me know myself deeper, and it helped me understand people who are different than myself. I have sensitivity to people who feel like strangers for whatever reason it is. If they have a different disability, if they are from another country, whatever it is. But I think I'm sensitive to difference, and I'm sensitive to people's feelings because I know what it's like to be the different other. As a child, it wasn't easy, but now for me, it's a strength. It was a challenge as a child, and it's a strength now that allows me to connect with others who are different.
And I would like to ask you about, it's like, how is your relationship, I mean, in this society, with people and your friends, your boss sometimes? It's like this.
I have very good relations with the community. I feel lucky again. I love people, and I feel the same from them. And because my work is in the field, I know many people who I admire and appreciate, and it's mutual between us. And I have a big circle of friends who are my biggest treasure in life, such as the one sitting here.
Okay. Before we move to that point, I want to ask you. You mentioned something about Professor Nader, and he works as a professor and teaches at university. How can you describe your relationship to him?
We've been friends since early 80s, and we have a great relationship. He was one of the people who was very important in my life when I was young, your age, and wasn't sure of myself in Birzeit University. We would go on a trip, and people would want me to sit if it's a full bus, and he would say, "She's only blind, but she can stand, no problem." Or we went olive picking. We used to go olive picking as part of the community work, part of the university. And when I wanted to climb the tree, people would panic, and he would tell them, "She knows, it's okay, just let her be." So actually, when you're different and you're mischievous and you want to do things, it's good to have a friend who supports your point of view. So he's been that in my life.
So I think, according to what you said, that you had a great relationship. So that's great, I think.
I don't know. No, what are the other thing that you have? Do you have the best sensitivity ولا عندك do you feel إنه lucky?
I have it. I feel things. I have a good instinct. I'm an intuitive person in general. Maybe blindness helped with it, but I think I also worked on my potential that I have. So I am sensitive to people's energies, moods, and I meet people in 1 second. I feel if I trust them or not. Many people who can see are distracted maybe by visual, superficial things, and if you don't employ your instincts, then you don't see the inner things that people have.
Right.
And I feel lucky to see them.
Another thing about it's like we're like occupied country, and you as a political activist, how would you describe you when you want to move from area to another? How do you feel? What the things that you face usually? It's like when Israeli soldiers, checkpoints, such things.
I mean, checkpoints are barriers, and in my life I don't like barriers. Just like I refuse to let my blindness be a barrier for development and for relations, I don't like barriers. So I tend to challenge soldiers on checkpoints when they insist to treat me like an enemy. I insist to say something to make them reflect on what they're saying. And some of them back off, some of them get a bit more human, and some say, but I feel it's my human job to influence even a soldier's behavior when I'm passing a checkpoint, because it is against my values and my nature to have barriers, and it's unnecessary.